listening.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome to a very special guest edition of the Real Sharks Podcast. We are joined by actor, entrepreneur, Kyle Klaus. What's going on, Kyle?
What's going on, guys?
So how's New York? How's it going out there?
It's good, man. A little wet right now, a little muggy.
Yeah, I saw you guys were getting like a bunch of rain out there.
Yeah, raining. It was fucking amazing the past couple of weeks, man. It was like mid-November, you know. It's usually like freezing, but it's 72 degrees. It was awesome. But today got rainy, and it's supposed to get rainy and then cold, and you know, normal stuff.
So before we begin, Kyle, tell my listeners a little bit about yourself.
Listeners?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I guess all in all, professional actor, real estate agent, growing up in Pennsylvania, realized I couldn't really hang out there and accomplish my goals. Had to make the move to the New York City area. I live on Hudson River, like right outside of Manhattan. I'm looking at the Empire State Building in Hudson, Manhattan right now, from my apartment, but just needed to be in this area and started getting into acting. Professional actor, got some good. It's a long haul with that stuff, and just to supplement that, got into real estate instead of like the old, bartending, waitering kind of career to supplement your acting. Yeah, cliche actor stuff. So got into real estate, got into investing, got into, all these other businesses, entrepreneurial stuff, and just build a career around the acting stuff while I still kept focusing on that. But that was like what I look at it now is that was my why. So that's what got me out of bed. That's what got me like pumped to do everything every day and just, be able to be a success in other stuff so that I could create that, lifestyle and be able to like pick up and go whenever I needed to if the acting jobs came around.
Nice. You were in Invincible, were you not?
Yeah. That was one of my first films, man.
You were Mark Wahlberg's body double, right?
I was Mark Wahlberg's double in Invincible. Actually, no. Actually, to be honest, I wasn't his double in Invincible. I was an Eagles trainer. I was on the film. I was one of the click extras, like the core extras. You got those extras that are like in the stands and stuff. That are there for like 1 day or 2 days. But I was the Eagles ball boy. I was there for, pretty much 3 weeks during the summer, and it was in between my college career. So I came home from college, stayed at my parents' house in Philadelphia. This was being shot in Philly, and was, the Eagles ball boy for that whole summer, and it was pretty freaking awesome because, Eagles are my team anyway at home, hometown team, and it was sick. And then I met Mark, and the first day I met him, and my job was to hold the football on set and not to lose it because we had to use it for the shoots. And they were like, "Don't throw this to anybody. Do not. You got to keep this." So I was like, "All right, cool." And then in between sets, you got about like 10 minutes before the next shot is set up, and then Mark was coming over and he was walking past me. He's like, "Hey, man," and he'd be like, throw me the ball, like basically make a like little hand gesture, and I'd be like, "Fuck, man, I can't like not throw him the ball." So I just started throwing the ball with him, and we had this like blown out catch. And next thing I know, I'm walking back to this trailer, and he's like, "Hey, he's like, you want to grab a beer or something, man? And like,
nice.
Have some food?" Awesome. I was like, I would go back there every night and hang out. He had a cookout for the football guys. And I would just stop by because I figured, hey, if I did it one night, I'll do it every night. Had a couple good interactions with him, and then the funny thing is, I found that I started figuring out the movie sets stuff, and I was like, oh, these guys need stand-ins. So like when they're setting up a scene, it's like they need people to set up it takes an hour or something to set up the cameras, the lighting, the track, the everything. So I was like, oh, I'm like his same height, his same weight, his same body type, everything. So I was like, next thing I know, next summer he comes by and does the happening, and I was like, I'm gonna try out for the stand-in gig, and because that gets close to him all the time. So I did the happening, and then 3 weeks later, literally Ryan Gosling pulls out of Lovely Bones, and he does the Lovely Bones. So it was like a couple stretch there where I was really close to it.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Do you guys still talk at all?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I still talk to him. We're like, I don't work on his stuff anymore, obviously. Like, I just, branched off and did my own thing. A couple of his guys, he does, literally have an entourage, so we're, a couple of us are, really close friends, His trainer they hired him on Invincible, Brian Nguyen, is very close friends with him, still to this day, but doesn't work with him closely on films at all. But, yeah, we're all, I keep in touch with all his people.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's really cool, yeah. So it'll come around again sometime when I'm he's doing something and I'm perfect for some other role, and, I'll get in there and, try to be in a movie together, and then just, be like, hey, man, remember when you're standing? No, we're just doing... No, yeah, no, we'll see.
Yeah, so are you going to try and be in, the next Transformers movie with them?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Good stuff, but
what did you think of those movies that you were in, especially The Happening? We won't lie, that movie
first of all,
wasn't well received.
Yeah, kind of it was kind of a B-list movie. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that was, and everybody knew it at that time. But the thing is, the Invincible. I'll tell you this: Invincible was a fucking good movie, and never felt cooler in my life than I worked on The Departed as an extra. This was early in my career, and I was up in New York. I was living in Philadelphia, and he was in Departed.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it wasn't Departed. It was We Own the Night.
Oh, okay.
And I'll never forget. I'm standing with a bunch of extras. You remember that?
Oh yeah, We Own the Night. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
good mob movie.
Yeah, man. I'm standing with a bunch of extras, and Mark's walking past us, and he comes directly over to me, shakes my hand, gives me a high five, a little hug, and he's a bro hug, and he's like, dude, saw Invincible. This is before it was out. He's like, saw Invincible. That was fucking awesome. Good job. And I was like, oh my god, dude. I was just I looked around at everybody else. They were looking at me like, dude, what the fuck was that? It was awesome. It was one of my early moments. This is crazy. But Invincible was awesome. It was a good movie. Yeah, it was a good movie. I loved the Eagles, so I was a little more partial, but great movie. Vince Papale, it was a great underdog story, It was but The Happening, more B-list, but, M. Night Shyamalan got this thing, man, where he's he'll do anything, because he knows what to do, he knows to get enough out of the movie but it wasn't a big budget, so he knows how to, make money, put it that way. And the Lovely Bones, I think the book was probably better than the movie.
I hear mixed things, to be honest with you. I have people that say that, but I also know people that actually love the movie quite a bit.
I've read the book,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I never read the book, so I gotta be honest there. But I do, the one story I did hear was Ryan Gosling showed up, Peter Jackson was there, and he showed up, cut fucking bald spots into his head. This is what I heard. I don't know the facts, but he cut bald spots into his head to make him look like a dad. And Peter Jackson was like, no, what the fuck did you just do? We have this. You're kind of you gotta be a sex symbol, and we fired you. And now they just called up Mark Wahlberg, and I don't know how Mark Wahlberg fit into that whole thing, but it wouldn't be my first choice in that movie, but, Yeah.
So, as long as he doesn't shave his head.
Yeah. I mean, we just need a general dad kind of guy. So, got it. Yeah.
So, I mean, what have you enjoyed more, doing movies or television shows?
I'll be honest with you. I like doing television shows more because that's what's hiring me. You know, I feel like movies still in this day and age goes to A-list kind of actors. You know, it's a little tougher. It just feels like a little tougher. And honestly, the golden age of TV is right now. You know, it's like Netflix, Hulu, fucking everything.
Prime.
You know,
Amazon Prime. HBO
Amazon
Max,
Prime. You got everything. You're like, I don't even know.
Disney.
You just,
Disney Plus.
Yes.
We got,
exactly.
CBS Access.
You got the theaters thinking about making a streaming
But then
service.
it's like, I even love that shit, man, because like True Detective was like one fucking long movie
Oh, yeah.
over 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That first
So-
season was amazing.
First season blew it out of the water, but it's like that kind of TV is it changed him. You know, it's like because that's the thing is like you hear right. It's like that was the biggest gripe. It's like the book was way better because the book went into way detail, right? But then you like say something I don't know, some kind of film that had like a book.
Oh, The Mist.
And then it was like made into a movie.
The
And
Mist.
then you're like,
The Mist. I actually think The Mist is better movie than the book. It's been a show, which I think the show is not very good, and then it was a book, but then it was a movie too, where I think the movie was actually better than the book, and even Stephen King has said that if he had thought of that ending, he would have wrote that ending.
Really?
Yeah, that came out
Wow.
in the movie.
wow. That's awesome. I mean, like that's the age-old story, though, right? It's like I can remember back in like 1990 something, where it's like the book Congo.
Oh
It
yeah.
was like the gorillas killed.
I just watched
remember
that movie today.
What?
I just watched that today.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
no
did.
shit. Look at that.
With my
No,
kid.
but like that was one of them. I remember going to see that in the movie theater and being like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be amazing!" And the movie was fucking amazing. But like somebody that read the book that went to see the movie was like, "Oh fuck, the book was so much better because it went in so much more detail and all this other shit." But it was like you can only have a 2-hour-long movie, you
Yeah.
know, so you can't go into all the nuances and like the everything. But like if you have a Netflix series like True Detective that has 12 episodes and it's basically like a 12-hour-long movie, you can get away with that, you know?
Yeah, no, agreed.
So it's changed the game. I mean, so honestly, like I don't know.
Binge
it's
watching
all
is
like,
a thing now. That is a big thing
Yeah.
for people.
So I mean, to answer your questions, like I just like doing TV because I'm used to it. And I know a lot of like A-list actors used to be like, "Oh no, I'm not a TV actor," but like now everybody's doing TV. It's the golden age of TV, you know.
What's something you want to do? Like, what's a film you would like to do? Horror film, action film? I mean, is there like, you're like, I want to be in a zombie movie. I mean, what's something you would really want to do out there? If anyone's listening, what's a movie you want to do?
Honestly, I think about this all the time. I would want to do. I'm big on end of the world type apocalyptic movies. I'm huge on that.
Apocalyptic, okay.
Like kind of like 2012.
Oh, okay.
World War
Okay.
Z. Like Brad Pitt does a lot of the shit that I always want to do, like like Galaxy type, like 2012, World War Z, like something dealing with the human race as a whole. You know, it's something that we all like. It's universal. You know, so something like that. I mean, and what was the one he just did? I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was a like space thing.
Yeah,
It was
I think that was Ad Astra.
yeah, Ad Astra.
Ad Astra. I watched that. It was like it dealt with space, but it dealt also on like such a human level of like dad not being there for his son, you know, and being away. Like there was so much more depth to it, but it was like it's like you know, humanistic, like a huge, big, grandiose level of like, oh, dad that goes out to space and like is lost, and the son's trying to follow him or find him, but also like on a minuscule level of like that could happen on Earth by the dad just being, dad just being a alcoholic or something.
No, I totally get you. I love movies that do that, where something is more of the background, such as space, and there's more of a metaphor to it, like the idea of a father and son, needing to reconnect because of a bond that's been torn apart, or a connection that was never there. I totally get that.
Exactly.
I love that about films. That's one of my favorite aspects of films, actually. That's
exactly the kind of film I'd like to be in. Something like that, or something like that.
Makes you think a little bit.
Yep. And just 2012, like kind of end of the world, World War Z, like we have to deal with it as a human race, like apocalyptic almost thing. That's kind of shit that I love.
Cool. One of my personal favorite questions I like to ask guests is this: are you much of a horror movie fan?
I mean, growing up, I was like totally a horror movie fan.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh man. So crazy. It's so many different genres of that. It's like
that there are.
They're the shit that I grew up with that I look back at now and I'm like, oh, that was kind of flaky, but it was awesome at the time. It was like the Friday the 13th or Freddy or Hellraiser or stuff like that. But then more current, I'm looking at Blair Witch and Paranormal Activity, stuff like that. There was more
lost cam footage movies.
Yeah. Just more
lost cam.
Yes, exactly. And then currently, it's a lot of stuff on TV actually has been pretty good. Very what was it, the Bly Manor, the kind of shit like that. It's more
Bly Manor,
House on Haunted Hill. I love that series, and I thought that freaked me the fuck out. But it was and then also growing up, it's so many different things. Mothman Prophecies.
Love that movie
for a while.
Love that movie.
Yes, that actually fucked me up for a while. I feel like
the true story is even scarier.
What else? Emily Rose. What was that called?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Oh my god, dude. Yeah. And that girl was in Dexter, and she was great in Dexter, and I loved her in that.
That was Michael C. Hall's wife for a while.
What's that?
That was Michael C. Hall's wife for a while.
Yeah, Jennifer.
Was it really?
Carpenter,
yeah.
Yep.
Jennifer Carpenter. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they started dating during the first season, got married in the second season, and divorced after the
fourth, I think.
Yeah, after the fourth season.
There was
Can you imagine that? Working that close to somebody and what's that? She got divorced because of what?
It was a scandal, I believe, with Julia Stiles.
Because of Julia Stiles?
Yeah.
He was
really?
sidestepping on.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why you
Can you imagine that? No fucking way.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Julia Stiles was just at this she was one of the last agent parties I remember going to in the city before this whole pandemic happened. Julia was there.
Oh, that
any
cool.
stories to share about that? Any conversations with her?
Absolutely not.
Speaking of you talking about COVID, when I was doing my research on you, I saw that you are an owner in a restaurant. How's business been since COVID?
Yeah. So what's great about that is actually, I thought I was crazy for actually wanting to invest into a restaurant during COVID, but I know this guy that's been doing it in my local town around here in Hoboken, New Jersey for a while, and he's really talented, and he's been he opened a couple restaurants, and he presented me this opportunity, and it's worked out actually. We have,
what's the name of the restaurant?
It's called Touch the Heart. It's American dim sum, so it's I don't know what you can get there. Bunch of different stuff that's American, dim sum, but Americanized.
Mm.
And then it's a BYOB place, but we can only have 25% occupancy right now. But they invested in a big tent outside with heat and heat lamps and everything. It's an amazing spot. If you're ever in Hoboken, New Jersey, or if you're ever in New York by any reason, and you want to come over to Hoboken, Hoboken's like a borough of New York. It's awesome. But it's right on Washington Street, the main strip, 324 Washington Street, called Huts the Heart. BYOB spot, but it's like you can actually bring a bottle of tequila there. Ooh. But they have like cocktails.
Favorite place.
Yeah, no, they have like regular cocktails, right? And then they'll just put the tequila in. Ooh. So it's kind of like a,
it's classy
mocktail kind of thing. Well, you make it, and then they'll mix it. They just can't sell it there. So it's awesome. But it's one of my bigger, like, my thing is all about building a life, building a abundant life outside of the acting career, because I think so many actors right now so many of my friend actors right now, they got fucking way lost during the pandemic. They're back at home in fucking Missouri right now with their parents, and just didn't set it up the right way. It was like that starving artist mentality. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a waiter. And now that acting is gone, and any bars, they just cut back on our bar, our restaurant, 50% of the waiters because of going into winter. It's just not there. So, if you don't set yourself up for the long term,
yeah,
you're screwed as an actor. I mean, unless you're like a Johnny Depp or you're Brad Pitt or Mark Wahlberg, and those guys got other stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So
then with your realtors agency, are you guys doing okay with handling your businesses, and or are you guys doing everything digitally right now?
No, you know what? Honestly, real estate's been the busiest it's ever been in my 12 years of working in it since college. Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought that would happen. I got into real estate at first to supplement my acting career because I'm like, oh, this is super flexible. I could work nights, weekends, on the whatever, doing showings when people aren't working, and then go to auditions during the day. And it just got. So that was my whole plan in this acting thing, and then we just kept going, and we opened a brokerage, and then I got people working and teaching them under me, and all that stuff. Then COVID happened, and it's like, holy shit, everybody got scared, and then I was like, well, I kind of don't agree with this. I'm gonna fucking put the foot on the gas pedal and see what I can do here, because people need help. Like, real estate's an essential business. Everybody got to live somewhere. Everybody got to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, so the people that were like sitting here in the city and are like, I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment now. I got my kids. I got another kid. I'm working from home, me and my wife. We need a bigger fucking place. I need a 3-bedroom with outdoor space, or I need to move to a house like a little outside of the city. Well, that happened in huge amounts around here. So while all these other agents were like, oh, I'm just going to take a break for a little bit, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, these people need help. Like, these people need to know, like, there's real estate that's going to be happening. It's just like a lot more problems, a lot more stuff that we had to go through. We had to sign COVID forms. We had to wear gloves. We had to wear booties. We had to wear masks, all that other shit. But it's like, if you just keep it, like, if you just follow protocol, like, you can get shit done. And I never thought, if you would have asked me a week before COVID, if I would have ever thought I could sell a place virtually for $1 million, I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. Nice. Somebody's got to come into a place. Like, that's crazy. No one would ever do that. And, like, that is the one thing I hold my hat to. It's like, I sold a place fucking virtually. Like, literally, the seller didn't want anybody in, the buyer didn't want anybody in, and, like, I was like, well, you know what? Seller wants to sell their place, buyer wants to buy a place, I'll fucking figure it out. So we put FaceTime thing together with the buyer, the seller, me, and the other agent, and we just did a FaceTime thing, and they went through, looked at the whole thing, and ended up buying the whole place.
Wow, that's
Nice.
Yeah.
spectacular.
And totally virtually. And I was like, well, look, can't stop. I mean, it basically, like, fast. It just goes to show you, like, you can do that stuff. You know, it, like, fast forwarded everything by 10 years.
So let me ask you our question of the day, Kyle, for the show. And I think you're the right guy to answer that. Let me ask you, what do you think makes the perfect ending of a movie?
Perfect ending of a movie.
What do you think is the perfect ending?
It's a good question.
Like for me, like I think one of the perfect endings I've ever seen was from Return of the Jedi with Star Wars. Was when Lucas fighting Darth Vader, and he's like, you know, he does the whole, if it wasn't for, you know, your sister, you know, well, you know, Obi-Wan has failed, I'm coming after your sister, and he's like, never, and then it's the piercing light through the darkness, that final battle, when he chops off his dad's arm, he sees he's just like him with his arm basically chopped off, you know, father saves son, father dies, sacrificing himself. I think that was a damn good ending. Everyone lived happily ever after. It is a cliche ending, but hey, it was a damn good ending.
Perfect ending kind of wraps it all up. Like, you know what? I'm going to be a little risque here. I'm going to talk about a little something that's a little risque. And it's almost like when you're having that sexual encounter with someone else. And it's like,
I like where this is going.
You know,
Go
you
ahead.
have a cliche climax, and it just brings it all together. And it literally is like a release that is like every little loose end is tied up and released. It's almost like, it might be cliche, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. It's like everything that was building up is just came together and is satisfied. That's what I think the perfect ending is.
That's beautiful, man. I love it.
Gotta relate it to, you know, whatever.
Well, Kyle, thanks for coming on, man. We really, really had a good time with you on. We appreciate you coming on a lot.
Awesome, man. I'm glad. Thanks for having me on.
We definitely want to have you on again, so we'll be in contact with you, okay?
All right, awesome. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
You too.
This is the Nostalgunk Podcast, where one person's junk is another person's childhood. I'm Matt McGraw.
And I'm Kyle Smith. Join us each week as we take a deep dive into your pop culture consciousness and discuss everything from movies, TV, music,
Cartoons, toys, video games, and more.
and we want to hear from you. So connect with us. Nostalgia means so many different things to so many different people, so share with us your favorite piece of nostalgia.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at NostaljunkPod. And you can subscribe to us on all the major podcast platforms. Let's get this thing up to 88 miles per hour, and we'll see you next week.
Before we move on, my listeners, let me ask you, do you have any old clothing you think might be valuable? A concert shirt? Maybe an Elvis shirt you've outgrown? Or maybe a Star Wars shirt you just want to sell? Then make sure to give our friends over at Ivory House a call at 623-203-5568. They specialize in retro products and clothing and will make you an offer. Again, that's Ivory House, 623-203-5568. Tell them Real Shark sent you.
Hi, my name is George, aka Spike Green. You may remember me for shouting out Real Sharks podcast over at the Film Geek Collective. basically anyone who supports us at all gets to be part of the collective. No money required. If you want to learn more about film, if you want to learn just a whole bunch of tricks and tips and stuff, and just various things about film, I am like a go-to guide. I hope to be a go-to guide. Now, if you want to check out the Film Geek Collective, the link is anchor.fm/George-D2. Alright? Well, I guess I'll see you guys there, and thank you, Real Sharks Podcast. Keep listening to them too. Thank you so much. You're always welcome at the Film Geek Collective, and don't you forget it.
We're back with our Kurt Russell special. We're continuing it up. And I want to kick it off with something a little different, because I, in fact, love this movie, but not for the reasons a lot of people think. I think it's a movie that gets bad rap because of political, controversial reasons, as if jumping up and down on a celebrity couch justifies ultimate hatred for an actor, and by that I mean Vanilla Sky, Tom Cruise's Vanilla Sky. This movie had Kurt Russell in it. He played a detective, but he played and I can't, without giving it away, I think everyone should see Vanilla Sky. It's actually a pretty good film. With the interesting, and I won't give it away, but what's interesting about Kurt Russell's role is he goes from playing a detective to ultimately being a metaphoric father figure in the film to Tom Cruise, which is kind of what Kurt Russell kind of did later on in his career. He shifted from that more action star role to more of that fatherly kind of figure, mentor kind of figure. But I like him in Vanilla Sky. I mean, yes, it is a minor role, but it's there, and he's actually an important part of the film. But I guess you could say I like the movie more than Kurt Russell's performance. But Kurt Russell's performance was just another. It was the cherry on the cake to have Kurt Russell in it and be a part of it. So that's my opinion on Vanilla Sky. But what do you guys think about Vanilla Sky? I mean, have you guys seen that film?
Yeah, that was one of the ones, like you said, it was like a very controversial film for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, because he jumped on the couch.
And
then, of course, Cameron Diaz said, "I swallowed your cum." That means something.
Right. Which is like, once that happened, it was just like no one cared about the film anymore. And it's a decent film. It still kind of gets a bad rap, which I don't know. But Kurt Russell's piece, very, very good and underrated.
And, I just want to throw a shout out to Open Chest Anime Podcast, to my homie Brad. We actually had the conversation about the whole Cameron Diaz quote. We actually specifically talked about how we remembered that scene. And what happened, Brad? You haven't contacted me in a while. I thought we fell in love. I thought we were like Trump and Kim Jong-un, man. I thought we fell in love, bro. So hit me up, give me a call. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Steve.
No, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle. What? Kurt Angle. Yeah, you remember when he was in this film? No.
Wait, body slammed the giant.
Body slam Kurt Russell. No, Kurt Russell body slammed his performance because it was, like you said, it was very minuscule, but it was, I feel what you mean, Rob. Like, that was like his niche role. After doing so many like action roles, he kind of settled into this like mysterious, like, fatherish role, kind of, but backed off, and he wasn't really the main focus in the film. Like, and it was fine. I liked it.
Neither was Tom Cruise. It was more or less his messed up face. To be fair, that was only half the movie. God, Steve's dying. Steve's literally dying. It was only half the movie. Have you guys seen Vanilla Sky?
I have not. I probably didn't watch this movie for like the longest time, but I think I watched this about like 3 or 4 years ago because I was on a Tom Cruise movie kick at the moment. And
did you watch it after Eyes Wide Shut?
No, no, it's funny. I was just watching Days of Thunder.
Good movie.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what else can I find to watch? And I found Vanilla Sky. I'm like, well, I've seen the trailer. I remember when the trailer first came out. I thought the trailer looked so bad. I mean, I don't.
Trailers are the devil. You should never trust them.
I know, and I learned my lesson. And after I watched this movie. And what surprised me the most was when I saw Kurt Russell was in this. I'm like, oh, look, he's in this. And then from like when you first meet him and just playing that detective world, I'm like, he's gonna fuck up Tom Cruise in his life. And then at the end, when you find out everything about him, I'm like, well, it kind of blew my mind a little bit with how the whole entire story went and everything. Like, shit, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
He's a representation of Tom Cruise, if I don't want to give it away too much to my audience. But
from start to finish, it kind of blew my mind with how well it was, and even from Kurt Russell, if he wasn't a supporting character in this movie, and just how small of his role was, he kind of almost stole a lot of this movie.
I disagree there, but
no, he played his role.
I think he was he complimented Tom Cruise, I think. Yeah. But let's talk a movie that I'm pretty sure you guys will be like, oh, I love that movie, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Stargate.
I like Stargate a lot.
I know you do. So tell us about Stargate, Mike.
I mean, plot-wise?
Everything about Stargate. Talk about Kurt Russell.
It's an awesome-ass movie that stars both James Spader, wwho's fucking awesome, and Kurt Russell, who's fucking awesome. Kurt Russell in this one, though, weirdly plays the, like, uptight, he's a Marine? I know he's in the Army of some kind.
Air Force.
Air Force, there you go. Yeah, I know he's in the Armed Forces. He plays, like, an uptight Armed Forces guy, and they find a Stargate, which is, like, a trans-dimensional rift to another side of the galaxy, right? Yeah. And then James Spader's your kind of your hippie scientist guy. And
paleontologist?
Yeah, he's got like long flowy hair, he wears big glasses. Yeah. He's looking fly as hell. But it's a fun time. Like, I don't know, I maybe I only like it because of James Spader and Kurt Russell. They're both great in it, and they're both given good performances, and they're two actors I really enjoy. So like seeing them play off each other is pretty fun. But I don't know if the movie, based on what everybody says, the movie ain't good. But I like it.
Even as a guy who's not a fan of Stargate, I heavily disagree because they made how many goddamn shows off that movie?
It's a cool premise.
Alright, so the original show, which lasted about 10 seasons, they went off to Atlantis, which lasted about 3 seasons, and they went to Stargate, like, Universe or something, and that lasted like 3 seasons.
Are you a huge fan of Stargate?
Yeah.
It's kind of
I think he owns them all, actually.
No, alright, before you talk about this, I'm gonna go off, and with this, I actually started watching the show before I even watched the movie.
Interesting.
Because I didn't know there was a movie until I looked up Stargate the show, and it said, click on this to look at the movie. I'm like, there's a movie, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, holy shit, this explains a lot of things I missed and didn't understand so far, and like from the first season. I mean, so that solves it. I mean, damn, I feel dumb. I should have watched the movie first.
The only reason I remember Kurt Russell was in this because I always think of that South Park Imagination Land episode. When they have the guy and they turn around and he's like, Kurt Russell, are you ready? He's like, why am I here? He's like, because you were in that movie that was kind of like this one. And I was like, oh god, Stargate.
Jeez. That's how I feel too. I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of Stargate. I saw it like in the 90s like everybody else, but I'm just like, it was one of those films like we rented it and I was just like, I don't think I need to see that
I feel like there's a side of an aisle, and I'm not trying to draw it here on the table.
There's a very clear division.
I think the division is like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're generally not a Star Trek fan or Stargate fan. I know a lot of people who love Star Trek and they love Stargate but hate Star Wars.
They hate Star Wars.
Star Trek, sir, not Star Trek.
Damn, I think this is divided.
Excuse me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Good guy, he knows.
Yeah, but it is funny though because again, the success of this movie from Kurt Russell's performance, I think actually propelled him into the next movie that I'll get into, because of he was playing this a different role. Like he was playing the army dude. He had like the buzz cut. He looked like Guile from Street Fighter. He's got the buzz cut going. And then like again, it spurred all this gigantic series in the 90s that rivaled the Star Trek series in the 90s too. There was like those two shows that are going at it. So I think it's as good as his performance in the next movie, which I like, which a lot of people do not like of Kurt Russell's, is Soldier, 1997.
Really?
That one was badass because he goes back to being like the badass, like alone type of guy in the universe where they breed these soldier.
I know what it's about.
Like, yeah. He from like these kids, they like get them as kids and basically just train them to be nothing but just soldiers. It's kind of like a rip-off of Universal Soldier a little bit, until he goes against this other unit that's like a super soldier unit, and they kind of dispatch him, and it goes from there.
There's another division at this table.
Oh yeah, I can sense it because this was not well received.
No,
Kurt Russell's performance.
I think this is a movie that actually kind of downgraded his
Yeah,
star
his
status.
You think so? No, I don't think it tainted his career because
I see this movie at the dollar store.
yeah, like this is one of those films where a lot of people don't like it, but because Kurt Russell barely acts in the film. He's like silent character. He's like no emotion. He says like a couple of things in the film, and it was relying mostly on the action in the film. So again, it's one of those films where I don't think it downgraded the man's career because he was established by this time. But yeah, the division I could see is rising at this table.
You know, I'm looking at the Rotten Tomato score in this, and this movie is probably like one of the lowest he's
Listen,
got
Squid,
on
you
the-
didn't need to bring that up. No.
I'm just saying it's a 13%. I mean, that's probably the lowest.
Yeah. No,
Steve,
no
like
one,
I said,
no one
Oh wait, how
Rip
low
off
is
of
Escape from New York? How low is Escape from New York?
I don't think it's very low at all.
It's gotta be.
Or
Well, no,
LA.
LA, my bad,
LA,
yeah.
yeah.
New York is a class. LA is a shit show. It's so bad.
All right, let's see. LA has 53%.
Really? For
Yes.
Escape from LA?
We'll get into those next. So
Yeah,
those are
God.
probably, we didn't want
Titles.
to get into the biggest movies,
Yeah.
but no, it's fine. Which is 1981's, Escape from New York, and what is that, 96 Escape from LA, I believe?
So he did Escape from LA, and then he did.
No, it's New York, then LA.
New York first, and then
Well, yeah,
LA.
but I'm talking about Soldier, and was it LA, and then he did Soldier?
He did Soldier in '97.
So he did LA first.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did LA first.
So he probably thought LA was gonna really work, and he was like, "Let's do this Soldier movie. It's kind of like Snake Plissken."
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Snake Plissken, probably one of the most iconic movie characters ever put together. I mean, God, I can't even tell you how many times on Twitter I go on Twitter every day, and there's something with Snake Plissken somewhere on it. People,
He's great, man.
yeah,
He's a
oh,
great
of course,
character. He's
yeah,
fun.
he is. He's awesome. Am I gonna say he's as cool as Solid Snake from Metal Gear?
Ooh, that's
Maybe
a tough-
not.
that's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Well, like Solid
wouldn't
Snake
have-
was actually made from
Yeah.
Snake Plissken.
And
Right.
yeah, Metal Gear
Right.
Solid 2, he calls himself Iroquois Pliskin.
Yes,
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that was for all you real true gamers out
Yeah,
there.
there you
I'm
guys
so
go.
proud of everybody right now.
If you got that, hats off to you.
Yeah.
Hats off to
You
you.
play Metal Gear, you're on the right side of history. Hideo Kojima, best director in video games by far and away.
Hell yeah. So Escape from New York, I mean, God, these two movies are iconic. Even though some people say, L.A. is terrible, I remember it from as a kid. I liked
watched
them.
it.
Yeah, I watched it.
I-
Father forced me to watch it. Yes, I watched it.
I never had access to LA as a kid, so I watched New York a lot. And then I finally saw LA as like a 25-year-old man. I was just like, what the happened?
It was that shark
boy,
scene. The
yeah.
minute he shoots out in that pod with that shark, I was like, wow, I'm done with this film.
You weren't done by
this one.
the one-arm basketball scene when he's got to be shooting across the thing.
He made all those shots, though.
Right?
He actually made them.
But for what they are, they're fun films.
Well, Escape from New York, I think, is really good. It's
Yeah.
incredible atmosphere, incredible music.
Iconic film.
Yeah,
Iconic.
and for given the production budget, like it pulls off some really impressive stuff. Like James Cameron's landscapings and stuff that he did of the city are super cool.
Right.
They look real. You think you're actually looking
Yeah.
at a real city.
But
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Russell's performance in both of those, would you guys say that they carried the
It's
film? Like it is
It's funny
the film?
because I don't think it. Yeah, no, exactly. I don't think it's Kurt Russell's fault. Well, the first one's great. I'm saying, when a movie is bad, it's not necessarily the main guy or the main actor's fault. It's just a terrible film, and I think that's the problem. It wasn't his. It was just the direction of the movie was terrible.
Right.
He did
Because he was
write
Snake Plissken in both
Yeah.
of them.
Yes,
he
he was.
basically did the
He
same
is. He's
character.
the same guy. It's just the other film sucked.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, you can only do Terminator so many times before it starts to suck.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And, unfortunately, it took a lot longer for that to happen, Terminator-wise, but...
Yeah, like for what he's asked to do in those two movies is just be quiet, look tough, and look mean, and he does
Right.
it.
He does it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he did it good.
But, when he has a series of tough guys with him, he also is able to pull it off pretty well, and I'm talking about a movie that's kind of relevant to where we live over here in the States, and that's Tombstone, 1993's Tombstone. Classic movie. I don't know too many people that don't like this film. I know one of the biggest criticisms of this film is it's long.
Right, yeah.
It's too long, but, of course, had Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, Powers Booth, Dana Delany, Stephen Lang, Billy Bob Thornton, Charlton Heston, Jason Presley, Michael Rooker. I mean, it goes on and
It
on
just-
and on.
It is a heavily
Heavy
casted
hitters
Yes.
after heavy hitters.
movie, or Western movie.
Yes. Probably one of the best. Probably top 3, in my opinion, best Westerns of all time. I'm sure if you've ever heard our Western special, you know my opinion on Western films. Not the biggest fan, but don't unsubscribe because of that. But, I love Tombstone. I think Tombstone is a great film. I love his performance in it. I think he's, among the pack that he is in, definitely stands out that's Kurt Russell.
Right. I think so. I think this one, it ingrained into America's minds as pushing Kurt Russell over the top because of this performance, and it almost branded him a little bit because he's in another Western. We'll get to that. As a Western guy, because he played it so well. Wyatt Earp, he played that character to a T, and again, I think he single-handedly
better than the other Wilder.
Yeah, I'm no offense to another person who's done a lot of Westerns in his career, but this one kind of almost single-handedly brung back the Western phase in the 90s. It was this one that started it, and then others followed suit. But I think that he ran with this role. Other kind of people, I kind of feel like personally were more of the supporting cast around him. They were great characters, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of like Kurt Russell's owning this film.
You think so?
Actually, I agree with
I really do.
Really?
I really think that the other characters are just they're side characters.
Because I love Bill Paxton so much, and I just feel like Bill Paxton was a shining star in there too.
He was.
Yeah, he was good.
But when I think about Tombstone, I think of this as a major Kurt Russell movie. I mean, just how Steve said, from all the other acting, it's fantastic. I mean, but I see that as more of a supporting cast. I mean, I loved Sam Elliott in this movie. I mean, and let's not mention Val Kilmer was in this, and
this is
probably
everyone loved Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I mean, this is when Val Kilmer was on the top. Everybody adored him.
He's just not famous anymore.
No, and a lot of his lines are so iconic. A lot of his lines from this movie is iconic. I'm your Huckleberry.
Excuse you?
Well, I mean, that is part of it. But, from Kurt Russell's role in this, I mean, just how well he presents himself and just how dramatic and, emotional he gets in a lot of the scenes. He steals the scene away from everybody else. Like when Bill Paxton's character was dying. I mean, holy crap, was that kind of scary. And then when Sam Elliott's shot in the shoulder and just how they played off each other, I mean, that honestly had me at standstill. I mean, holy shit, what's going to happen?
Speaking of a movie that's holy shit, what's going to happen, could take a miracle to win this game. Let's talk about the movie The Miracle. You like that pun, Steve.
I did.
Actually, I have seen this movie. Ironically enough, I'm not even a huge sports guy, but I've seen this film, Disney's The Miracle. I actually seen it once in a hotel back in the day. Wow. It was on TV, and I was like, oh, okay, just, nothing else to do.
I saw it on a plane.
Watch this film.
Very similar.
Right.
For a plane.
Am I the only one who saw this in theaters?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I see. It's one of those films I've seen in passing, and it's a story of how the Americans beat the Russians, and the Olympics, unforgettable game. Odds stacked against them. It's an okay film.
Yeah, he plays Herb Brooks, the coach. So pretty good film.
I thought it was okay. Yeah, there's not much I can really say about it. I know I'm sounding like I've never seen it, but I have, and it's just not that memorable. First of all, and I personally don't think it's that memorable, and I just thought it was just an okay film. It was entertaining for the time I watched it.
It's a good standard procedural sports
inspirational
film.
Kind of film.
Yeah, it hits all the right notes. It plays well, and you
we
enjoy it
can do
after
it.
You saw it.
Never give up. Never surrender.
And they did do it.
Yeah, he did do it, and I will say this: it kind of goes back to what Rob.
Well,
yeah, right. He did, right?
I guess we should be more American on this this podcast. That's right. They beat the commies. Commie bastards.
Oh and it's funny though for all the people that are like, "Well, what do you mean about this film?" Well, just like what Rob was saying, that this is more of the Kurt Russell father figure coming in again, because he was sort of toning down the action. No action here, obviously, but he was more of the father
action
figure.
On the ice.
There's there's Russians. You know what I mean?
And there's Russians. Yeah, if we tell you there's Russians and ice skating in this film, it almost sounds like a spy movie.
It really does, actually. Yeah.
Americans, ice, and Russians.
Oh yeah. No, I guess I'm the only one that actually really enjoyed this to the point like you
I
kind
didn't
of
say I
saw a
didn't
little
enjoy
bit
it.
more.
Just
Well,
said-
you said it was good. It was okay.
It was just forgettable.
It was forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember learning about the miracle in elementary school and learning this, but when this movie came out, man, okay, this looks good. I want to go see it, and I went to go see it with my family. And I actually really enjoyed it because it showed a lot more behind the scenes of like the troubles and kind of drama that actually went on with the players and with Herb, and kind of the ceiling and why they were so passionate about being the commies and everything, and just how involved you got with these players.
Damn commies.
Those damn commies! Those damn commies! You damn dirty commies!
It's so funny. We have to beat the Russians in hockey. God damn it!
Hey man, that's what they care about the
I
most.
know, right? I know. The real war was fought on the ice.
On the ice,
We
guys.
did it 'cause God bless America.
Right.
God bless our troops.
God bless our troops. God bless our hockey players.
That's what
God
I'm
bless
wearing.
Kurt Russell. All right. God, you guys are gonna hate us.
Hopefully
Alright,
the
so-
joy transcends. Hopefully they enjoy it.
So the last movie we're gonna wrap up on here on this probably part 1.0 of the Kurt Russell special is one he's barely in, but I still think he has, a good performance in there. And I'm not even a big fan of this film at all, but I know everyone around this table is. I'm one of the only ones. It's Death Proof. Kurt Russell's rolling it.
We got another division on the table. 'Cause I'm on your side. I think it's Tarantino's worst movie.
Right? Yeah. I do think it's his worst movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kurt Russell in it, it is what it is. That's all I can say about his performance in there.
Right.
Being that mysterious,
Stuntman!
Yeah.
Stuntman Mike.
It was cool. That's all I can say.
It was alright. It was
cool.
okay. He did well for his role. I felt like he for what it was, right? I mean, you barely even get when he freaks out. I mean, it was like
And
that was pretty cool. I
let me
guess.
set the record straight why I don't like Death Proof that much. And it's more or less because if you hear Tarantino talk about the film, he says a lot of the dialogue he wrote was insider dialogue to his friends. He wrote some parts to make his, cousin laugh or his uncle laugh or other people he knew laugh. And you can tell in the film there's a lot of these inside jokes to the characters within themselves, and it's like so boring. It's to me anyway, I just feel like it's very, very boring because you don't really know what they're talking about a lot. I mean, I get the idea of you want to be realistic and come in on a conversation, but it's like, good God, give the audience some context for what's going on here. But like I said, I thought Kurt Russell's performance in it was cool. Just cool.
He's a little creepy, a little mysterious. That's all he needs.
Mysterious, creepy guy, cool.
Yeah, he played the crazy guy pretty good. I felt like he convinced me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't.
He's a good bad guy.
Yeah, he's a good bad guy. I felt like that was great. It was alright for
He
what
didn't
it
need to say much or do anything. He just needed to be the guy behind the wheel.
Be crazy.
Yeah, because at the end too, he's not like it's not him. It's his car that's the big demon that's chasing everybody.
True.
So
Yeah.
he can't really do anything to make those scenes better and or
Do you
worse.
think the car was possessing him?
No.
Who knows? It's like that scene, and I hate to get off topic, but another one of my favorite, greatest scenes in movie history is the scene from Talladega Nights when he blindfolds them in the car, and he's like, "You're right. It's almost like the car can drive itself."
That scene is so ridiculous.
First of all, I have a pet peeve about anything with cars doing human things.
Right? Oh, so you got a problem with Maximum Overdrive?
I have a problem with any Cars, the movie.
Cars, the movie.
I look at them as machines that can't do anything. So when a car is possessed by a demon or something, I have a big problem with that because I'm like, it's a fucking machine that requires an operator to work.
But not if there's a demon.
Not if there's a demon in it.
You got
apparently.
control it, man.
Just sorry. Just that's what I get with those films. And there's not many of them, so you can tell my hatred runs deep.
Did something bad happen to you during those Mobile X?
I once got my hand slammed into a car.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
That was probably it. Yeah.
That's probably why I hate cars.
Those damn commies.
Not to mention, some part that always freaked me out in Brave Little Toaster was how they told you how cars have faces. So I see faces on cars all the time.
Yeah. Why would you bring that up, dude?
out.
That's the scene that probably messed you up as a kid.
It freaks me out. And they're just, doing the whole worthless. But we're getting off the topic.
Yeah.
But what's not worthless is the real shark Jagged Tooth shirt store where you can buy all our merchandise, all our cool T-shirts, film shirts, and everything else. Make sure you guys go check that out on realsharks.wixsite.com. And we're going to wrap up this episode of Real Sharks with this Kurt Russell special. So stay tuned for the next episode. We also had Kyle on the show. Before we go, I want to ask the question of the day for you guys. And we're going to ask this. What is the perfect ending of a film? What would you consider to be the perfect ending? What has to be in a good ending?
That's tough because you can go different directions with that. You can say like the end of Lord of the Rings, how they beautifully sum up this long journey with many little fade-ins and fade-outs, and they wrap up all the characters in a nice little bow, and they send them off to where they're gonna go. Like that's a great ending. That's a damn near perfect ending. But then obviously for other movies that are a little more open-ended or mysterious, you don't want to wrap it up that neatly.
Yeah, or you can go like The Mist, where it's a horrific ending, but it's a pretty like you feel it is justified in that world. So it depends on what like you said, like what it is. How does it complement the characters, the world itself, and the setting, and does it wrap up in a pretty bow at the end?
I kind of like a little bit of chaos in a good ending. There's a little bit of that, but if it doesn't end with a cliffhanger, I'm okay with, because if you leave a perfect movie with a cliffhanger, you leave that open to possible interpretations of being a possible sequel down the road. But if this is going to be just a perfect standalone movie, you definitely want to have like character ties finished up, everything almost like a great big happy ending. Or for me, what I really love the most is at least one sad thing happening and everything just ending peacefully.
Well, besides my favorite ending being the Return of the Jedi, with that, my other favorite ending is, I think endings that are realistic are my favorite kind of endings. And like one of my favorite endings of all time, and it's not really an ending to a movie as it is to a episode of a show, is the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones. I like endings like that make me upset.
Right.
That make me sit there and go, what the why? But then again, when you go back and you look at it, you're like, wow, that's a life lesson almost, because it's, you got to look at the things you do that can, the cause and effect of things.
Right.
At first you're like, I don't understand why he's dead, and then you're like, oh, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes that he shouldn't have made.
Yeah, he went back on his word several times with the wrong people who told him that he would get, punishment if he went back on those words.
On his words.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that those are always the most powerful endings.
Truth and consequences.
Correct. All right, we're going to wrap up this night with me, your host, Rob. And Mike.
Y'all have a good night and stay safe.
Steve.
Yo.
And Whit. Bye, guys.
We'll see you guys later. Such a dick.